August 31st, 2022 is a very significant date as it is recognized as the last official performance from the duo Florida Georgia Line members Tyler Hubbard and Brian Kelley out at the Minnesota State Fair. And even though we have never really got an official breakup announcement from either Tyler Hubbard or Brian Kelley throughout the years and even prior to the split, there was much rumor and speculation surrounding the reason why Florida Georgia Line are no longer together and working on their respective solo careers. One rumor in particular that seemed to gain a lot of steam throughout all of this was when Tyler Hubbard decided to unfollow Brian Kelley around the time of the 2021 presidential election with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Fans allege that because of the difference in political ideology and opinion, the two were no longer wanting to be together as a duo. But Brian Kelley and Tyler Hubbard have both admitted that yes, there were some differences there, but never really alluded to or made it very clear that that was the exact reason and why they decided to go their separate ways. And some fans, even to this day, still believe or allege that there is some sort of bad blood between Tyler Hubbard and Brian Kelley. You know, Brian Kelley released Kiss My Boots, one of his latest songs. And within that song, he has subtle nuances about a relationship that went sour. And in previous interviews and conversations that he's had about that song, he has mentioned that it was in the past couple of years where this sort of took place. But let me be clear here, that has never been confirmed that the song is in fact about his old partner and member of Florida Georgia Line, Tyler Hubbard. And quite honestly, Tyler Hubbard has not spoken ill about Brian Kelley in any interviews that he has done since moving in his solo direction either. And today we are going to share the latest interview from Tyler Hubbard because it seems from this interview we now have what actually went down between him and Brian Kelley and how this whole split even came to be and why it does not seem likely that we will ever get to see the two of them back together. So much so that within this new interview, Tyler Hubbard even mentions that he has minimal conversation or contact with Brian Kelley. But again, he is doubling down on congratulating Kelley on his solo career and just kind of laying out the things that occurred between the two of them. And it sounds like it was, maybe not mutual at first, but ultimately things have worked out for the both of them. And they have taken this split in stride. So let's get into what Tyler Hubbard had to say. Hubbard recently sat down on the Bussin with the Boys podcast where he was asked about the split and ultimately asked about if he still has contact with Brian Kelley. Here's what Tyler Hubbard had to say. He says, "For me, it was really unexpected, but BK came to me and said, man, I'm really feeling like I want to do the solo thing. And I'm like, really? We were just getting out of our first deal. We were kind of in a sweet spot that we have worked 10 years to get to. And I'm like, bro, why don't we just ride this thing out for like 5 more years, 10 more years, and then we can do the solo thing or whatever. But again, I wanted to support him. He was adamant. Now's my time. I really need to do this for myself. And I'm like, well, all right, whatever you need, bro. What do you need from me? He said, I just want support. I said, all right, bro, you got it. We've had an incredible ride. This is where it's going to go. Like, let's do it. Crush it. And you never know. Maybe it can bring us back together, have a reunion tour, whatever, but he definitely initiated the whole thing from the beginning. And when I say it caught me off guard, it's not that we never mentioned it before. I didn't think that it was going to happen then. You know what I mean? For him, it was the right time. Again, I thought, I'll just stay in town and be a songwriter. Sounds like a fun gig, He went on throughout the conversation and added, there was definitely a period of time where I was confused. Like, bro, why now? It felt like a divorce. BK even said, I still want to do Florida Georgia Line. I just still want to do the solo thing too. And I had to tell him, I'm like, bro, from an emotional standpoint, this is dramatic, but this is what it feels like. It feels like we're in a marriage and everything is great and we love the benefits, but you want to go sleep with the neighbors and come home at night and be cool with it and just like jump back into bed and everything's cool. Emotionally, it feels like that. I'm like, bro, I can't do both. I said, I'm going to give you the choice, but it's either Florida Georgia Line or solo career. Because also, I don't have the capacity to do 2 careers. it's also like gonna get super sticky. Like when we're writing songs, who are we writing for? When we got 2 show offers in Florida Georgia Line date and a solo date, like what are we taking here? Like I didn't even logistically see how that would work, much less emotionally. At the time, I was kind of like, man, like, dude, this sucks, bro. Like, look at what we've built. You know what I'm saying? Together, you and me. Later, Hubbard was asked about his contact nowadays with Brian Kelley. He said, it's pretty minimal now, bro. I don't know if BK needs some space or what, but I still try to reach out on text. Just congrats on the new song or whatever. But there's not a whole lot of engagement at this point, to be honest. Tyler still is not putting aside the fact that there could be a reunion. He says, I'll never say never, but a lot of stuff would have to change, to be honest. A lot of dynamics there would have to be some real long, open conversations. Some healing would have to be done for sure before that happens. So again, it didn't really start off maybe as mutual in the beginning between Tyler and Brian, but ultimately the two worked at making their solo careers work. They did go their separate ways. Tyler's still not putting the idea of a reunion out of his mind. He's not saying it will never happen, but if there's minimal contact right now and a lot would have to change, we have yet to really hear from Brian Kelley much about this, since this really happened, by himself in an interview. But it's not off of the table, but clearly BK wanted to have a solo career and Tyler wanted to support him. And now the two are, they're doing great with their solo careers and everything seems to be working well for each of them. But even though there seem to be some differences between these two guys, he even says that Brian Kelley still wanted to do Florida Georgia Line. But for how this split went down, this is what we have from Tyler Hubbard in a brand new interview with Bussin' with the Boys, where he really broke it down here more so than we've kind of heard in the past. They've gone into detail a little bit about it and the therapy sessions that they even went through, but Tyler really broke it down here. So this is what we're getting from him as far as the split goes from these past several years, where there's been a lot of rumor and speculation. Wanted to share this with you guys. But as always, please leave your thoughts on this, comments down below. That's your latest update here from CountryCast. Also, be sure to subscribe down below as well, so you never miss out on any breaking news and updates.